G'day, it's Roy from Sunland Caravans again. Today I'd like to talk to you about two very important things. One is the difference between timber and aluminium framing, and the other is about insulation and wiring in your caravan. Behind me we've got a caravan that's built in Melbourne by a Victorian manufacturer who builds their caravans out of timber, and it's in for repairs, and I'd like to show you what we've discovered. First off, if you have a good look at the timber framing, you can see that around things like the wheel box here, they're using a bit of 18 Meranti. Then they're using this nice 25, which they've cut out to run the wires. In fact, in this manufacturer's got his 240 and his 12 volts nicely separated, which, hey, that's good stuff. But have a look at the insulation on this caravan. This is how it's been insulated. And I have to say, it's not a very pretty sight. However, going back now to our timber versus aluminium frame, to do this repair we've had to pull it apart, and I want to show you what the main difference is between an aluminium frame and a timber frame. And here it is. This is what you won't see on an aluminium frame caravan. Rot. And this rot goes all the way throughout. It's generally going to be found in the low points on the caravan where the water will run down. So you'll see it's all rotted down underneath the step, all along this bottom rail. And if you keep going on further here, you'll see how it's completely rotted the front away. So this is the major difference between an aluminium frame and a timber frame, is aluminium frames simply won't do that. But when it comes to construction and insulation, this really is a very poor quality job. So I would just like to show you now how we do it at Sunland, how the aluminium frame goes together, where things like around the door, and again, for a Victorian manufacturer, these guys have done quite a good job. They've put a nice 75 timber rail around here and along the top, so that door frame is actually quite a solid frame. That's unusual. Normally would find this being made out of the 25, not the 75. So this particular manufacturer has done some things quite well, other things not their fault, and that is they're simply using timber and timber's going to rot. And they've done a fairly poor job with the insulation and a half reasonable job with the wiring. Now let me show you how it's done properly at Sunland. So here's the difference between the two. This is the Sunland that's just been built at the moment. So first off, you'll see aluminium framing. You'll see that we've put a large support all the way around our wheel arches, and around the doors we use a 75, but it's aluminium. Have a look at the way that van's been insulated. Again, the wiring code is spot on. The 240's kept away from the 12 volt. We do additional things like putting a cover over the back of the 240 volt. You'll see on the other van that in fact they don't have a cover here. It's quite rare for manufacturers to do it. That's what we do. If you look closely at the wiring that's run through, we run the wires through, we then gusset it using a split loom, and then that's actually 7003'd into place. So these wires really can't move and they can't rub against the aluminium. So here are the big things. The important thing with what I'm showing you here is that this frame won't rot. Number one, the big thing with aluminium, this will not rot. Number two, it's a lot stronger. It's made out of stronger materials. In our case, we weld. Other manufacturers do it differently. We believe this is the best way to do it. Then the insulation. We use a 25mm thick foam, so the insulation's done properly. And then the wires are run and gusseted properly. When this van, if this van ever got pulled apart years down the track, which is unlikely, but if it did, you're never going to see what you saw in that first timber frame van. So if you've got any doubts about it, timber versus aluminium, there's the story, guys. Have a look at the timber frame, have a look at the aluminium frame, make a decision for yourself. This is just part of what we do at Sunland Caravans. I hope that's been helpful, and any further information, give us a call. Thank you.